15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Welcome to Talking, from the live podcast produced by Indie Radio, where we break down the mystery, the terror, and the twists of the hit TV series. Hosted by Jen and Kinte, this is the show where we review every shocking moment, every haunting question, and every chilling clue. And from strangers find themselves trapped in a mysterious town they cannot leave, forced to survive against deadly creatures that come out at night, while uncovering the dark secrets hidden all around them. You can watch from on MGM Plus. Get ready for live reactions, deep discussion, bold theories, and real talk about one of television's most unsettling shows. And now, here are your hosts, Jen and Kinte.
All right, welcome to an all-new episode of Talking From. I am one of your hosts, Jen, and absolutely none of my predictions, well, save one, came true in this episode or in the entire season. So I'm about 0 for 100 here. Maybe next season will be better. I don't know. Let me introduce my co-host and we'll start talking about the episode finale of season 4. Kinte. Kinte, how are you, my friend?
I am ready to go. Oh my God. Great episode. I was able to see it yesterday, which I thought was pretty cool.
Very.
And I'm looking forward to talking about it. This was can I just start out by saying
yes,
this might be the best episode. It's I told you my favorite episode was the season 3 premiere, and this one is right there.
Well, okay, let's expand on that. Tell me why you think this episode was so good, and then we'll get into some specifics about what actually happened.
It kept my attention, which is always good, but the show always does.
Right.
Every scene was important. There was no filler. One good sign that an episode is good is when it ends and you're like, no, like, it's like, how some shows, it's the same length of time, but it feels long in the tooth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this was really good, and I just enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I thought the one thing this one thing though, the way that the whole Victor and Henry thing played out, I don't know. Like all the buildup, it just seemed kind of wah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that he didn't kill him, but that was probably the one thing I would say that was just kind of like,
and he might still try again.
That's true, but it just seemed like it was all of this lead up to it, and it just kind of, I don't know, it didn't live up to it.
I thought in that scene in particular, I thought it was interesting that it was Ethan that showed up at his door, because we know that Ethan is supposed to be like Victor's quote unquote replacement. And that, I don't know, it gave me very weird vibes. But okay, so I, unlike Kinte, was a little less than I expected more.
Really?
You know, I guess in a way, although I feel like the episode was solid, like so solid, I don't
Hmm.
feel like we are, except for maybe two scenes, I don't feel like we are any further in this plot than we were mid season 4. And it is driving me absolutely bananas because I know that we only have one more season to go. And the amount of heavy lifting that the writers are going to have to do in order to make this work just feels inordinate. Like, I mean, it's going to be a Herculean task to get anything close to a story told, a story in its sort of, beginning, middle, and end together. I guess I expected more moving the plot forward for a season finale than we got. And I think I can discuss this sort of best in each individual instance of what happened. So let's start with Elgin. Um,
Oh, yeah. Okay. Just
yeah.
as a side note, the Elgin, yeah. But anyway, I'll let you go start.
Well, I'll tell you what I thought about this scene, and then you tell me what you thought about it. I personally was very underwhelmed with Elgin's death, and partly because we expect so much from the man in yellow, it's
Hmm.
Sophia, and I just feel like why? Uh, not not okay. Like, I'm sure that Sophia didn't want Elgin to tell, and also was trying to, recruit another person in the mix. And maybe Sophia thought that killing Elgin would then obviously give her another person to impersonate, which we haven't seen, but that seemed like a fairly, uh, on track theory. But just the way that Elgin died felt so underwhelming. And I guess for that, I really did expect more, especially because Sophia is so diabolical that, anything could have happened there. And it kind of was just like, okay. So what did you think?
Okay, that was something that I definitely had issues with. Was because they made it such a big deal, and then in the penultimate episode, and
Mhm.
then it just kind of was like he just went out weak. He went
Yeah.
out weak,
For
and it
someone who
was
suffered so much.
yeah. And, I'll be honest with you. This has nothing to do with the actor. The actor, I'm sure, is a fine person and all that. I'm kind of glad that he's not on the show anymore. Not because the actor sucks. It's just that I was tired of his character. He's so weak and timid, and he's just like, and then he didn't got his eye. I got tired of looking at his eye messed up. Like I don't
Oh,
know, man. I was
well,
just like,
okay.
I was just kind of tired of Elgin.
I mean,
And like I said, the actor seems cool as heck. I like the actor, and I hate that he's out of a job. Maybe they bring him back as a ghost, like
N
Father
no,
Kotcheff.
no, I really think that Sophia is gonna be able to impersonate him. I think that was the whole point of us seeing it.
Oh, that's why he said get rid of the body.
Yeah.
Oh, because I was wondering why. You know what? I was thinking about that when he said, or she said, get rid of the body. I was thinking, like, doesn't he want the body to be found? And then, oh, so he can impersonate the body or
Mhm.
impersonate
That's what I think.
Elgin. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, that's just a theory, but
No, you know what?
it
That's a
seems like it's
great theory.
all
It makes
lined
a
up.
lot of sense. It
Yeah,
makes
well
perfect sense.
well, like I said, I'm like 0 for 100 in this series, so, anything that I say, take it with a grain of salt.
Hmm.
Um But the thing that I think the thing about Elgin that really got me, if we could just stop for 1 second on this, is that the last episode when Elgin actually attacked the creature, uh, that was epic. That was like that
Hmm.
was his moment in the sun. And yeah, I don't know, just to have him go out so weakly just didn't really, yeah, it made me very sad. Um okay, so there was that, and Clara is still being Clara. I guess subservient puppy hoping to go home by doing terrible and horrible things. Um so oh boy, that was just absolute. I hate Clara now. I just like,
Really?
yes, I really do. But I mean, not to not well, I mean, now I think she's probably scared to death even more. But to be scared is one thing. To substitute your own morality for your want and wish to go home is sort of a whole other issue. And I'm not saying that like any of us would be, if we had the chance to go home, what would we do? But to really sell people out in a way that is actually going to hurt them, I don't think I could do that. I just don't. I feel like I wouldn't. She's been with these people for a long time. It just
Mm.
feels very like, wow, that is really super sellout. Um, so okay, so we move sort of from there to uh well, let's talk about the tunnel scene. So we see Jade and Tabitha, they are in the tunnel, they are stuck. And so far the creatures are basically being kept at bay by a earthquake. Who do you think that the earthquake was actually caused by the boy in white? No spoilers for the end, but do you think that the earthquake was actually the boy in white's doing?
Dang, I never even thought about that. No. Why
No.
do you think that?
Okay, well, I guess now I'm going to have to do spoilers for the very end, but because of what the man in yellow via Sophia said to the boy in white,
Hmm.
which was, "You're going to lose this time." Or no, no, actually, the boy in white says, "They're going to make it this time," and the Sophia says, "I love how optimistic you are." And also the fact that Sophia says, "Oh, look at you, all grown up." And like, to me, that this was the only thing that I think I sort of got a little bit right, because remember when I said, I wonder if this is a bet between the two of them. That's I mean, we didn't actually get the bet or anything, but that's the only thing that sort of rang true, was maybe the boy in white actually can affect some parts of this story, but not other parts.
Hmm.
Because why would an earthquake coincidentally happen at the exact moment that Tabitha and Jade needed a bit of a miracle?
Okay, then why haven't they done it before though?
See, I think that this is interesting. And again, this is just theoretical, but I think that what's happening is, as things ramp up with the man in yellow and as he exerts more power, the counterbalance is also true. As long as the man in yellow is behind the scenes and things are just moving along, there really isn't a lot of interference allowed. But the moment that the man in yellow gets involved and gets his hands dirty and is able to sort of do more, than the boy in white also can do more. And maybe I'm looking at this too simplistically, but it feels like there is a counterbalance happening here. I don't know exactly what it is. It seems like the boy in white is a lot more than just a random sort of NPC that shows up in the town every now and again. It feels much more like there is something there. And, maybe he can't do things until the man in yellow actually does something. Taking, well, let's go back to Jade and Tabitha before we get too far into this. So there's an earthquake. It basically cuts off access to or from the creatures to Jade and Tabitha, but they're stuck in a room now. And it's kind of like a jail cell with these, things that are planted into the ground. that make a little a jail. And so they can't get out. And it was my kid as we were watching this who's like, why don't they try to smash it with their feet? And I mean, like, he said that before they even did that. And so, sometimes the people in From don't always behave in a way that is like the most logical. They get there, but yeah. But the scene was really gripping. What did you think of that sort of situation? And then ultimately the reveal that Jade said, yeah, the bones were never actually going to help us.
Wait, say that again?
Jade said, sorry, Tabitha, the bones are actually they were never going to help us.
Oh,
yeah. Actually, like any talisman or anything. I just said that to get Boyd to go along with me.
Yeah. No, I like that too. Yeah, that was pretty interesting. It was pretty funny how that worked out.
It was very Jadey.
Yeah. Did you think he was gonna die though?
I don't think I thought he was gonna die, but I did sort of think that something else was going to happen to him. Like, like he'd get stuck down there and maybe the creatures wouldn't be able to attack him or something. It was interesting to me that the creatures are actually impeded, I guess is the best way to say it, by sunlight. They cannot seem to cross that threshold. And of course, that's why, the immediate sky blackening, total eclipse of the sun thing was also so, like, I don't know what's happening behind the story scenes here, but it seems like what happened was the bottle tree came down. The eclipse happened because the bottle tree came down. But partly it felt like that eclipse, that the instant the dark is going to happen, was also a little bit of a, like the man in yellow or the town. It was acting as a catalyst to speed things up because now they have the bones.
Do you think that I mean, this is a side thing, it just popped in my head. Do you think that the man in yellow is going to be going back and forth between Sophia as well as
Elgin?
Elgin?
No, I think if Sophia, or if the man in yellow becomes Elgin, it'll be like a one-trick pony. Like, it'll be for a very specific reason. But I think that the Sophia piece is so important because, like, okay, like, I'll give you an example. And I mean, and this is just me throwing out another theory that is probably 100% wrong, but here you go. I'm sorry. I have never been in so much self-doubt in my entire life. The part of the thing that we saw with Sophia is that Sophia was walking around the town basically going, hello, is anyone here? Is anyone here? And then taking the talismans, right?
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Damn people. Oh God. Okay. And my guess is that she's gonna like blame it on Elgin or something like that, because they're gonna need a reason for everything to be going downhill. Why would this happen? And that's sort of like where my head is kind of going. I think this is all back to that the dialogue in the episode where we heard Sophia, or the man in yellow actually, say, this is my favorite part. This is when you all tear yourselves apart.
Right.
Because nobody trusts anybody. And we saw a little bit of that in the van where, and I'm so sorry that I don't remember her name, but where, we have the lady that was out at the settlement and got burned. She is freaking out on the way back, and she actually grabs Boyd's gun, and she's panicking. She's, whatever. I feel like that was more of a uh like a clue that, hey, you know what, people are going to start looking at Boyd like, you promised we were going home, and we're actually worse off now than we were then. And it like, it feels to me like that's the setup. That's the setup. What did you think?
No, I felt like that too. Yeah, and you know, because she, which is so funny, she's so annoying. You
God,
know,
she was. I know, right?
um, yeah, you know how I believe I called it that you know that everybody's gonna turn on him, but I was kind of surprised that it didn't go down quite like I thought. You know, I thought it was gonna be like he was gonna get a bunch of people killed, but only the fact that those two went down
Mm.
really helped, you know, his cause. So yeah.
Well, so let's sort of stay within this. We saw Jade and Tabitha in the tunnel. They're stuck. Boyd and Party are heading back in the van to Colony House. Crazy stuff is happening. Creatures are chasing them. There's just, and they're getting, I think they were way more aggressive. I mean, like, I haven't seen, not that, tearing out your liver and, exposing your rib cage isn't vicious, but I just feel like they were very aggressive this time versus their normal, I'll walk at a snail's pace and just catch up with you when I catch up with you, which will be
Mhm.
eventually, like that kind of attitude.
Right.
Yeah, that was very surprising. Um, and as we see that, as we see them heading back, we also get this. I knew that something very bad was going to happen. I thought something different was going to happen, but we see Fatima and we see oh boy, I'm sorry, my brain is not working today. Um girl.
The girlfriend.
Yeah, and her Maribeth, right?
Yeah,
Is her name Maribeth?
I believe so.
Somebody's gonna say what her name is. So I'll get her name. So we fast forward over to them, and the thing that surprises me the most is that Fatima is 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 absolutely okay in sort of the, I don't know what the right word is, but like, she, to me it feels like Fatima is not the panicky girl that she was before, but she is sort of like, look, I can feel this, I know what's going to happen, and there is this like presence about her which I can't even begin to describe. It's just,
What do you think about that though? The presence.
I I I feel like it is her owning the fact that she is scared. I feel like that part of the creating the golem was, that was her exercise of coming to grips with what was happening. And that was manifest physically, but it is transferred into something far more resolute in her head, like, from an overall mental state. She has absolutely accepted that she has some kind of connection to these things. I will say that the moment that Smiley came in, and that was a great scene, by the way,
Yeah,
because
when her son came in.
they couldn't get to the talismans in
Interesting.
time, and it was crazy. That was very crazy. Um, and the fact that when he came into the room and he was like, "Hello, mother."
Yeah, that was funny.
Oh God, I can't even imagine what she
That
must.
boy is so creepy.
Right? Have you seen the behind the scenes stuff of him
Yeah,
getting
I sent it
makeup
to you.
and stuff? Okay. It,
Mhm.
it's quite telling. It's very telling. Okay. So he Smiley, without eating anybody, um kills, and the method of killing to me felt, it's Marielle. That, not Maribel, it's Marielle. I
Mhm.
just realized what it was. When he kills Marielle, it felt like this is shock value. It did not feel like the normal kind of, I don't even know what to describe
You
the
feel like
normal
he was
value.
trying to shock them,
I think,
or do you feel like the show was?
well, a little of both, but I think that one of the things that's sort of happening here is that when the creatures are sort of quote unquote off leash, they behave in very unconventional ways. And I think the only reason that Smiley arrived at the clinic is because Fatima was there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think the connection obviously works both ways. Like, he sensed her, she sensed him. And maybe he thought there would be somebody in there. I don't know. But maybe there was something else. Maybe there was another, like some kind of confrontation that Smiley thought he was going to have or something. But of course, that's not what happened. Marielle was there. She tried to actually save Fatima, grabbing a knife and like waving at him. And of course, Smiley rips open her stomach. There was no way that she was going to live. I mean, that kind of wound would be fatal. You can't stitch that back up again, not where they are. And I
don't
feel
know if
like,
you could do that anywhere.
yeah.
And then the way she was talking too, she was like, "Get away from me!" Like, yeah, that was yeah. She was so like, she was like, "I'll be fine." I was like, "No, you're not."
This is Marielle being clinically trained also, the way
Mm-hmm.
that not quite as distinctly as Christy has been trained, but this is definitely Marielle being like, I say things to soothe other people, or yeah, that kind of thing. Like, that's what I thought about it. Okay, so moving sort of forward from there, we leave Marielle. We well, I guess I'm not going to say everything in order, but we get the idea that there's moving parts, right? There's the van, there's Christy, there's the truck. They show up, and Christy goes in, sees Marielle, and that was really heartbreaking. I mean, it was beyond heartbreaking. I felt so bad for Christy, like
Yeah.
really bad. What did you think of how that whole thing went down?
Oh man, it was sad. It was tremendously sad. I don't know, like I actually thought they were going to get out of it somehow, and boy, was I completely wrong. And but that's fine. I thought that was good though, that it that I didn't see that coming.
Well, I'll tell you what I sort of walked away from this scene with, which is, up to this point, Christy has been not uninvested, but Christy has always been a sort of stay on the sidelines kind of person. And for whatever reason, I feel like this has probably unleashed a torrent of emotion in Christy that will definitely be apparent in season 5. At least I hope so.
You know how she actually became to be on there?
No.
So remember, she was initially with the Asian guy, Kenny.
Right, with Kenny.
And what happened was the actual actress is gay, right?
Oh, no, I did not know that.
Yeah, and so she actually said, because the character was straight, and asked the writers, can they make the character gay to reflect her?
Oh.
And that's how she went from hooking up with Kenny to,
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild. And also, in a way, kind of, I think, nice. Only because I feel like Kenny having a love interest is a little bit. I don't know. That feels complicated to me.
Why?
Um, I guess because Kenny, like Ellis, has been through so much, and having a partner and having to go through all of this is also, I guess the other thing is Christy and Kenny have the same temperament. They are very level-headed, they are very even, and as characters they feel very similar instead of being sort of that where you have a dichotomy between them that one plays off the other. I never got that with, and maybe it's just because I didn't see where it was going, but it just didn't, it always felt to me like they were two peas in the same pod instead of being two peas in separate pods that get together. Like, and that I think makes a more interesting story. Kenny is just so level, interestingly.
But you know, if I'm the actor, uh I would definitely want to have a love interest, especially because you know a lot of Asian male characters tend to not. You know, that's what was so good about
Oh,
Glenn.
truth. Yeah.
About Glenn, you know, white guys always get love interest. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
a lot of times, people of color and you know non-white males, they you know they like to make them into monks. You know,
Right.
you know.
No, that's a good
So
point.
I thought that was pretty cool that he had a love interest and stuff like that. That which is you know not typical of Hollywood. You know,
That is very true. You are absolutely right. And also the sort of the stereotype of, living with your mom. I don't know. Yeah.
right?
Um okay, so let's sort of shoot on down the road a little bit, and we'll talk a bit about what is happening in the sky, because soon after this, soon after the bottle tree comes down and they are racing down the road, all of a sudden in the sky there is this crazy lightning that shoots up from the ground into the clouds. And what do you think that's all about?
What do I think it's all about?
Yeah.
Um, Man, I suck at this. I have no idea. You know, it kind of remind me of is you know, I know we bring it up all the time, but it was very Lost. It
Mm,
reminded me of Lost. Like I don't know if you remember
yeah.
season 2 when they didn't press the button and then the sky went purple and stuff like that. It
Hmm.
kind of felt like that. Um, what we found out was that it's all this is coming to an end, right? How it plays out. So, you know, I imagine that that's what where this is like the end game. You know what I mean?
So my feeling is
Mm-hmm.
that the lightning shooting up from the ground had nothing to do with the bottle tree coming down or
Mm,
anything even like that. It had to do with them actually taking the bones out of the chamber.
interesting. Okay.
I don't know why I think that. It's just it feels more, because what's I mean, obviously scaring the residents is always a thing, and that's always underneath everything. But what else would be a good reason for the lightning? And especially because it's right at the bottle tree. It's right at the sacrificial chamber that we saw that first bolt come up from the ground and up into the
We have it
sky.
on the screen actually.
Yeah, there we go.
I
Uh,
made and I had made sure I got that image because
the- it,
yeah,
it's
it looks
I
beautiful too. By the way,
it does. All
they
of
did a
that,
great job. Yeah.
all of that, that whole, and I love that From does the sort of better trope where they don't try to make the scenes so dark that you can't see into them.
hmm When it
That
went dark, I was like, you know what I thought, and I was like, what if the next season is going to be permanent darkness?
Oh,
That's what I was thinking. Like, oh snap, that's gonna be great. You know that. So the whole season will be like in the dark. So there is no like, you know what I mean? That's what I was kind of hoping that's what it was, and I was thinking like, oh, so now they don't have like the the what, how many hours of sunlight. Now it's just gonna be darkness all the time.
Man.
That means they're gonna be constantly trying to deal with it. But no.
They wouldn't live long because now there's no talismans either.
Right. This was before the talismans were gone. That's what I was thinking.
Oh, gotcha.
Or they could be forced with trying to figure their way out of, like, I know they try to see how they can kill him, but like, I feel like they should have been working more towards how can we neutralize them or kill them? Like, yeah, you can't shoot them, you can't, but shoot, if you what if you lasso them and drown them put them in the water, you know what I'm saying, or something, like come up with some way, like instead of just trying to avoid them all the time, like there's got to be a way, like they can't survive everything, right? Can you
we know there's one way they can't survive, and
right,
that is because the worms.
Worms, right?
So blood to blood, that does kill them,
right? But I mean, like, if you put one in a wood chipper, I mean, are they going to survive a wood chipper?
Are there wood chippers in From?
No, I'm just saying something like,
because
I don't mean necessarily a wood chipper. I mean like maybe I should say this.
You mean just like cut them up into little pieces?
Yeah, like something where like they can't survive that, right?
I don't think that, I feel like they just, yeah, you're right. They're so busy trying to survive that they haven't moved down that.
I'd be like, there's got to be a way to get them. And honestly, going down in them tunnels where they're just resting or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we got to do something.
Well, before I forget, if they do have a wood chipper, they should definitely head out to the fallen tree and wood chip that damn thing, because okay, I have two thoughts about
now I can't get that out of my head, the wood chipper.
What's happening. The memes I see about chainsaws and From are so funny, because everybody's first thought is, oh, why don't they just get rid of that tree? They can't get rid of the tree, guys. They can't, because they only see it once.
Right.
And then every time after they see the tree the first time, they just keep going in a loop. So it's not like anybody immediately thinks, oh, I should chainsaw this giant tree in my way. Like, I'm sorry, as a motorist, that's not the first thing I think of.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I don't know, whatever. Okay, so the sort of where I was sort of going with the lightning and the sacrificial chamber and stuff was, my prediction was, well, that was going to form the giant storm in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
It was eventually going to rain and give us the picture that we had, that Victor drew about the town sort of being in that snow globe kind of looking thing, but it's raining and there's the spider at the top. And that's what I thought. I thought that's where that came from. So I guess I was completely off. Sorry. I was kind of disappointed, though, that not a single drop of rain fell. Like, come on, guys, give me something.
The cataclysm happened. It was an earthquake. You're right.
Okay, that I suppose I shouldn't be so hard on myself. That is definitely a thing. But the more that I watched the episode, the more I really thought that was definitely, like, that was divine intervention. Whether it was the boy in white or whether it was something else, that was not accidental. That wasn't just, oh, an earthquake happened because the sun went dark. Like, no, that doesn't even make any sense. Something happened that upset the balance. So, I mean, that's where I was with all of that. Um, okay, since we're talking about creatures, I guess we have to address the giant golem in the room and deal with what happens to Fatima. And man, if ever From gave us a line that just will stay with me and send chills down my spine every time I hear it, it is Fatima saying, "Don't forget who I was."
Aw.
That was the hardest line to hear for me in this episode. It was beyond sad. I mean, she basically sacrificed herself for Ellis and Boyd and Jade and Tabitha. It was insanely, I don't,
Um,
I mean, I just thought it was amazing. What did you think?
that wasn't my take on it.
Oh, really?
No.
What did you think?
And I'm kind of surprised that that you didn't have a similar take. I'm gonna pull it up on screen right now.
Okay.
Um,
You don't think she
I think
sacrificed herself?
no, I think she's been dead the whole time.
Oh,
Remember
yes.
when
Yes.
remember when they
She didn't.
she didn't survive the pregnancy and she became one of them.
Yeah, I think
And
yes, I think I can agree with that for sure.
and what happened was when they said we checked her temperatures or whatever,
Right.
um or not her temperature, her what was
Her
it, her
pulse,
blood
her
pressure and
pulse
stuff, and they
and
said
her
she
blood
should be dead.
pressure. Yeah.
I think what their basic we're seeing how people become one of them. She's gonna be now at night coming. She didn't die. What's
Right.
gonna happen is at night she's gonna be one of them
Yeah.
coming, and
Well,
this is like
wait.
the transition to that.
But wait. But that doesn't, to me, that does not negate at all the sacrifice that she made to keep them at bay while Boyd, Ellis, Tabitha, and Jade escaped, because she did.
Mhm.
She was facing off against them, against the creatures, being as loud and, confrontational as she could with them. Now, whether this turns into she is going to, become, like you said, one of the creatures that, walks around and doesn't have free will and all of that stuff. Sure, I absolutely believe that could be. But in the moment in the tunnels, that was a choice that she made. She knew what was happening. Well, maybe she didn't know what she was happening. She knew what she had to do in order to save
That's why
them.
she said, remember where I used to be,
Yeah.
saying I'm no longer I haven't been your lady in a while,
I didn't catch that. I mean, I didn't feel that was what was
Yeah,
happening.
this is her.
It felt to me
She
more
went down there because she's going to be part of them, and that's how they all. I think to a certain degree, that's how they all become, that or whatever. And
well,
when she
wait.
made that ugly face, I was like, oh. At first, I was like, no, don't, no, your girl. And then when she made that monster face, I was like, bye. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So
Okay, but well, they can't all get there the same way, because the only reason Fatima had any connection to them was that she gave birth to one of them.
right.
So there's a whole bunch of men there. They didn't give birth to anybody. I mean, like, there has to be
No. I don't mean like in. Okay, maybe I should have said it more. I didn't mean it like that. I meant like they however this is like showing you the transition,
right.
to it. They come out I feel like they come about it different ways, but this is ultimately what happens is that they become, a creature or whatever the heck you want to call it.
Right. Which I do agree with. I do think that everybody who, well, no, actually, I don't think that's true. I don't think that everyone who is a creature used to be a person in the town. I don't think. I mean, loosely, yes, but I think that the creatures had something to do with the compact that was made. They got eternal life for the sacrifice of the children. That was what they bargained for. And the fact that Tabitha and Jade couldn't save the kids had a lot to do with who the townspeople at the time were, because they're the ones that made the bargain, not Tabitha and Jade. Well, we don't know, but not Tabitha and Jade were tangentially a part of this. But if not them, then who was the contract with? Who
Why is it
got
when you said they made a bargain, I was thinking, bargain, the best I
who?
ever had, the best I ever had. I'm sorry. The Who just
Because
popped
you,
in my head.
because you want you just yeah, because you got good taste in music. Who
Next, I'll be saying the kids are all right.
who's who's I mean, who at this point? Honestly, okay, I'm not gonna lie. Through this entire episode, I had 15 shades of Breaking Benjamin songs in my head. Because this episode just was like, the crawling under the dirt, the I can feel it in my skin. Like it was just everything was so
Mhm.
perfect for Breaking Benjamin. Okay. But
Yeah, this is a side note since we're talking about music.
Mhm.
I have a feeling maybe the finale episode is going to be like called Que Sera Sera.
Mm.
I kind of feel like that might be the final title, or it's going to have something to do with the song. Like, I feel like the song has more than we realize. Like, more I listen to it, and I love the Pixies,
Mhm.
and I love their version of that song. I kind of feel like that song is more important, or maybe I'm on crack.
No, I think you might be right.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I mean, if anything, we know that in the From universe, very little is just random happenstance. Either
Right.
it's meant to distract you or dissuade you from thinking one thing or another, or it's meant to solidify your understanding of something. And I mentioned this back at the beginning of season 4. Up until season 4, we did not, as the audience, experience very much that was outside of what the characters themselves knew, right? Everything that happened was, we didn't get any third person perspective, but now we do have third person perspective via the man in yellow, because Sophia does things that are wildly different than anybody else. So we all of a sudden we have perspective of things that are happening in the town, like narration that is above and beyond just what the characters can see. Because Sophia does things and we see it and we know that other characters are not paying any attention to that. She's doing it not in secret, but she's not doing it. She's obfuscating her behaviors.
I like that
So
word, obfuscating.
so that's definitely different this season than last season's, than the 1 through 3 seasons, where really the only information that we were getting was critical in the moment stuff as the characters were experiencing it. So this did definitely sort of tip things upside down a little bit in season 4. But okay, so having said that, we know that Sophia has gathered up the talismans. We know that
What's is a jerk thing to do? Ugh.
which, yeah, that's going to be great, because especially because they're not going to know, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to know. Now she doesn't have the one from the clinic, because we know that one is there. She probably doesn't have the one from Colony House, but guess who can get the one from Colony House?
Right.
Claire. So that's probably gone as well. I don't know where they're gonna hide. It's or what they would do. Like I foresee sort of bloodbathy stuff happening at the beginning of season 5, because what else could happen? I guess we should touch a little bit on, and we did at the beginning, but let's just talk a little bit about Henry, Ethan, and Victor. So Henry goes on this search to find Victor's gun after finding shells in a cup that Victor kept, because in the beginning he was always walking around with a gun. I mean, I would too. He was, a person who nobody was there and there were just a bunch of creatures around. Hello.
Right.
But Henry's convinced that that's the dream giving him a message. What did you think, though, about Victor saying, basically like, I thought you were okay. You said you were okay. And this is what you do. Like, give me your take on that whole sort of thing.
Basically, I mean, no, he wasn't okay. When he saw the thing about the man in yellow and the picture, he's never been right since then.
Yeah.
And then when the man in yellow did what he did to him, or she, that always messes me up.
Yeah.
But
Sophia via the man in yellow.
Right. That's probably the best way to say it. It's almost like the artist formerly known as,
Right, exactly.
But no, but yeah, he was never going to be all right after that. So yeah, he's been losing it, and no, they're not right. He's not right. So they have a lot to get through.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they have a lot to get through. Sorry for the ding.
Sometimes I wonder if that's my phone. It's so funny.
No, that was me.
So okay, so the fact that Henry didn't go through with it sort of casts this pall over the rest of what I think the relationship for Henry and Victor can be. Because Victor clearly is never going to trust him again. And Henry, I think Henry's days are very numbered at this point. I mean, I don't know how far into season 5 he will get, but I don't think he's got very much left. Like, whatever his path is, unless he's just going to try to keep killing people, which possibly, I don't know what else we can expect from him now that he's like, to me, it's not jump the shark, but it's like, this is the shark moment for Henry. He has done something that is now, in Victor's eyes, I think, irredeemable, and especially because Victor has been spending his entire life trying to survive this place. So to have his dad be the one who is threatening to, no matter what Henry says, threatening to kill him is like, I can only imagine what that would do after spending so long trying to survive, after being the survivalist. That had to have been just like absolutely up.
Wait a minute, you don't think your kids would forgive you for trying to kill them?
My kids in particular, no. But I mean, I raised them that way, so that's my fault.
Like sometimes mom is going through things, okay, kids?
I'll remind them as I am, speeding toward midlife. I will remind them that perimenopause is around the corner, everybody.
Men will pause.
Okay. One sort of cleanup thing that I think we need to kind of get through, and that is the Julie, Ethan, Donna experience in the kitchen with the poltergeisty situation happening once again. What do you think that's all about? I mean, at first I thought it was Jim, but
I thought it was Jim too. That's what I was about to say. Wasn't that Jim?
I mean, that's what I thought in the first when it first happened, but now they're a colony house. Now, why would why? Why would that be happening then?
I think maybe that's the way of telling them not to lose hope, because remember they had kind of lost hope about their mother.
That's true.
So in that, when that came, that was right in that moment. So maybe that was Jim.
Is it Jim or is it Julie story walking?
Oh, because can they see? We know the man in yellow can see her when
We
he
know the man in
story
yellow
walks.
can see Julie, yes, and we know
So
the
maybe
creatures
she's
can see
there.
Julie, but do
Maybe.
we know that anybody else can see her? No, I mean, not that I've seen.
Maybe, you know what? That's a good idea. Maybe that's what it is. Every time she's there, but they can't see.
Because
So
Julie was
that makes
so
sense that she would go back to that moment too.
right, to say, "Hey, don't give up, you gotta hold your brother and tell him everything is gonna be okay." Because remember when she was in the well house, she's the one that threw the ladder down to Boyd,
Right.
and Boyd never saw her.
Oh, and people, when you're going to use a rope ladder, right before you use it, make sure that it's solid. I'm just saying.
Also, my kid had a really good point, and he was like, "Why didn't they just hold onto it and pull those people up?
Thank you.
Why were they? Why were they trying?"
That's what I was thinking. Like, they still could have pulled them up, yeah, or they could have pulled it up, checked it, and then put something else down. I mean, they could have just put rope down there and pulled them up. They just had to hold on. But yeah, it didn't make no sense. It was just kind of like leave your brain at the door.
So, from
mhm.
writers, if you need Kinte or I just to, throw some ideas off of to make sure that they are solid and sound, we're available. Just
Right.
out there. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that was kind of silly. It was like, okay. And then here's another thing is they know the man in yellow is around. They don't know that the man in yellow, do they know that he can take other people's
They don't.
They don't know it. Okay.
They don't in the sense that
They don't know they have a mole.
no, they don't. They really don't. And it's obvious that they think that the man in yellow is around, but also because the man in yellow's jacket, his suit was stolen. Remember, I think it was Boyd who said something like, who said something along the lines of why does he need the suit back? I think the seeds are starting to be planted, but they definitely didn't have any idea.
Yeah. We as the audience know way more than they do.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. And again, this is new for season 4, right? Because we didn't do this in season 3.
Right. Yeah. It's going to be interesting.
In fact, in season 3, we probably wouldn't have even seen if something was going to go wrong with a ladder or something. We wouldn't have been given access to that unless one of the characters actually saw it. It really is different storytelling. We are in different storytelling in season 4 than we were in season 3, or 2 or 1, which is, it's actually it's very clever. I think it's clever.
I think so too. Yeah.
But so I'll give you a chance to sort of tell me if there's anything else, but the last thing that I definitely wanted to sort of talk about was the encounter at the end between Sophia and the boy in white. Again, we've touched on this a little bit, but what did you think of that? What did you think of Sophia not just recognizing the boy in white, but also having such a casual, interesting conversation with him?
Oh, I know. I thought that was pretty cool. Because this is like the first time we as an audience realize that they're like they're old adversaries, And I like the little line about, "Oh, you've all grown up," and all of that.
Yeah, that was cute.
So it kind of feels similar. I hate to say it, Lost again with the man in black. and Jacob, it kind of has a very similar feel to it, you know. So
And of
I'm
course,
looking.
Sophia throws
Yeah.
all the talismans into a faraway tree. And we know that actually Boyd found the talismans in that little cave thing that he was in.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's an exit for a faraway tree.
Yeah. Look at that. She just threw him away. Jerk.
Bye. Wow, that's going to be scary to try to figure out. I had a thought about the whole Lost thing. Maybe
And
because
Jack Bender is the director, and was the main director on Lost.
maybe because Lost didn't go the way that they wanted it to go, just in terms of like, what could we have made better? Maybe that's why they made From, to make it better.
I love Lost, though. I thought it was pretty great.
Well, I'm just saying there was a fair amount of criticism or critique, I should say.
Yeah, but I think a lot of that was people didn't understand it.
I do too. I feel like that's where a lot of criticism.
Because when I would hear their issue, it would be like, but that's not what happened.
Yeah.
I'd be like, wait, but that's not what happened. Like but anyway,
I feel like that's what happens with From a lot too, where
Mhm.
people will very much misinterpret what's really happening. And
Right.
then they'll get very turned off by, oh, this is so dumb when, yeah, I don't think you're seeing the nuance that's happening here. But, to each his own. It's very difficult. From is not passive entertainment. I've said this numerous times. From is not passive entertainment. You have to be
It's not.
actively engaged in the story, in the characters, in sort of the development of what's happening. And to that end, I think that's one of the reasons that the quote unquote Fromily is so important. People sharing ideas become this giant web of, real good base to figure out what might happen next or how to interpret what has just happened. I love that. I actually love that. I feel like we have gotten to a stage in media with a lot of shows where after every episode we have a recap podcast where the director, the actors, the somebody will come on and like explain and break down scenes and whatever. And to me, that sort of cheapens the effect of the storytelling. I don't want you to tell me how I should be breaking all of these things down. And I think if we did that with From, it would be absolutely, we would not feel like we had any skin in this game.
Well, my suggestion was going to be next week we do an autopsy of season 4.
Mm.
And part of it, well, we do our own autopsy, but then we also look at some of the online discourse, like
I think
react
that's a
to
great
it.
idea.
Yeah.
One last thing I definitely wanted to say is that I have very mixed feelings right now about where the show is going to go for season 5. I don't even want to make a single prediction. But in terms of where the show needs to go for season 5, what do you think the show needs to accomplish in this final season to tell the whole story?
I've always felt like this show wasn't about them going home. And I just kind of feel like the ending, people are going to be upset because it's not going to be what they think.
Do you think they are going to go home?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it's going to, I think ultimately that's not what the show's about. Like, if someone's in prison on a show and they're the main person, you're rooting for them to get out, right? Or if they're trapped on an island, or if they, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And this one, I just don't think that's where it is. I think major people are going to die. Like even in this last episode, we lost what? 1, 2.
Well, we lost 3 if you count Fatima as not being, part of our main cast of good guys.
Yeah, and the burn lady's still alive.
I
She was so annoying.
Her days are numbered.
I hope so.
Numbered.
I hope so.
Yeah, we lost Marielle, we lost Elgin, and we lost Fatima, via subsuming into the creature.
Yeah,
Or
I
being
think.
subsumed to the creature.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get Monster Fatima going
I,
forward.
I think there's going to be a lot of I think there's going to be a lot of, yeah, we're going to lose a bunch of characters for season 5, but I'm hoping, I mean, really hoping that we start season 5 out with something extremely powerful to catapult us into the rest of the story. I don't know if we're there yet. I don't know. I mean, just entering a season 5 to me at this point would feel a little bit, again, underwhelming. I think, and this is not a criticism of the show. I love the show, but there is something that, like, I hate to say the stakes need to be higher, but yeah, the stakes need to be higher. And that's what I thought we were going to get out of this final episode. I thought we were going to get, oh my God, the stakes are so high that you could cut tension with a knife. And when we finally get to season 5, there will be this, massive battle between the forces of the town and the forces of the people. And maybe we'll get that in season 5, but I was just kind of hoping that we would get there at the end of season 4. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I enjoyed the finale. I thought it was great.
Production wise, it was amazing, and some of those shots, especially the tight shots in the tunnel, that's crazy. I felt claustrophobic. That was really, really good. And also just the absolute sheer heartbreak that Christy had for Marielle. That was huge.
Yeah.
Where that came from, I don't know, but Christy did a really good job of conveying that absolute
Excellent.
sobbing sorrow. Okay, well, did I forget anything?
No, that's it. Before we say goodbye, can I tease something
Yeah,
that is not talking from related?
absolutely.
Coming up, we have a brand new podcast that's coming.
Ooh, look at that. So shiny.
Yes,
Now,
Talking Widows Bay.
just to
So,
give you the heads up, I have seen the entire series so far.
mhm,
Kinte has not. And that should be pretty interesting.
yeah. So I'm looking forward to it, and it'll be coming soon.
Awesome. That is really exciting. To that end, how can we find you, and what do you have upcoming? What else do you have upcoming?
All right, you can get me at Kinte Ferguson on Instagram. Coming up Wednesday, we will be on our show Pilot Season 2. We'll be covering both Living Single and The Wire. So it should be a lot of fun. Both of those shows I love very much, and I'm looking forward to talking about it. What about with you?
Those are two really good shows, by the way. Just in terms of what the pilot was and where it led. So I'm excited about that.
Oh, wait. In honor of Living Single.
Some of the greatest one-liners come out of that show, I swear.
Yeah.
You can finally reach me at my movie blog, moviesmakethemeal.com. I have posted a ton of my old recipes. I'm getting through the newer ones. They take a little bit of time to form, but I'm really excited that it's up. And I usually do a recipe for each one of our pilot season episodes. So tune in and find out what it might be for this week. See if you can guess. You can also find me on that pilot season podcast. And hopefully in the next couple of weeks, as we do the entire season autopsy, we will take a look at what made season 4 good, what made it not work, what made it work, and what we thought was going to happen that did and didn't happen. I'm excited about that. with that being said, I hope you have a wonderful week. We'll see you soon.
Peace.